4 years into their MLS campaign, and NYCFC have established themselves as one of the top clubs in the league, thanks to world-class talent, emerging young stars, clutch performances, and of course, passionate fans. Will this be the year the citizens bask in postseason glory? We'll soon find out. This is NYCFC Push to the Playoffs. Hey everybody, welcome on into NYCFC Push to the Playoffs. I'm Susannah Collins, joining me at the MLS Studios in Manhattan to delve into NYCFC's 4th season in MLS and of course looking ahead to the Audi 2018 MLS Cup playoffs. My guys, Calen Carr and Andrew Wiebe. So great to see you both.
I look forward to proving that I do have a New York bias. No, I'm just kidding. But the blue side of New York has been incredible. It's 4 years? I can't believe it, man. It's gone so fast.
You know what I'm looking forward to?
What are you?
No disrespect to you two, but we've got some special guests and my former teammate, Sean Johnson. We played together in Chicago. Don't get to see each other as much in New York. He's been very busy, mostly making incredible saves this season, so it'll be awesome to catch up with him.
Fair enough. Yes, we will have him and Alexander Ring in the studio. But first off, let's talk about why we are here to celebrate NYCFC's Day of Soccer. Some really cool stuff happening around the city. We have field and pitch dedications. Calen, this is something you know a lot about.
Oh, I'm out there playing on these pitches in New York City, all across the city. And I look back and I say, wow, I wish I grew up with this. I wish I had this right outside my doorstep, because where I grew up, it was a little more suburban soccer in California on big fields. Well, this is the way the game should be played. You get creative players working on their technical ability, being able to express themselves. People from all different boroughs of New York City, underrepresented minorities, have access to the beautiful game. And that does well for NYCFC, MLS, and potentially the men's and women's national team.
Look, it's all about culture here, and there's a different culture created when you're able to go out there and do it on your own. There's no coaching, there's no format, it's pure. And that's what's so great about it. I got a futsal ball in my basement that I'm gonna bring out. I gotta go find one of these fields. And I remember going to Europe, you know, the backpacking trips of yore, and walking around the continent and thinking, why don't we have fields everywhere? I mean, they had them in parks, they had them in apartment complexes, and they were packed. That was the epicenter of these neighborhoods. Props to NYCFC, props to Yes Network, props to everybody involved. This is an incredible initiative.
It really is. Well, we have a jam-packed show for you today. We are going to be looking back at NYCFC's season, how they got here, and we're going to take a look around the league, some of the biggest moments from the season. We'll have NYCFC's Sean Johnson and Alex Ring in the studio, and we're going to have some fun with those guys, so you don't want to miss that. But guys, we are here because it is the final stretch of the season. The push to the playoffs is officially on, and it all leads up to Decision Day, presented by AT&T on October 28th. And as we all know, Decision Day has produced some pretty dramatic moments in the past, Calen.
Susannah, this is the craziest day of the year because everybody's got something at stake, and it changes so quickly. So you have everyone playing at the same time. Some teams are going to get in the playoffs. Some teams are going to have their seasons end right in front of them. I've played on this day. We've gotten into the playoffs as the last seed, sneaking in, and you go all the way to MLS Cup. We got to 2 MLS Cups like that. So last year was insane. 3 Western Conference teams back and forth. FC Dallas, Salt Lake, San Jose. Who's going to get in? And then this happens.
The shot, the cross, Arena buries it! Arena buries it! Arena buries it! 3-2 San Jose! Sunday's hero, Marco Arena!
Go! Marco Arena!
I still got goosebumps.
Man. We were jumping up and down on this side of the wall the
Yes,
other
we were.
when that happened. And of course, it leads to one thing, and that is the playoffs. And if you're not familiar with the format, this is what it's all about. You've got that day, Decision Day, to build up, and then boom. If that's the best day of the year, Calen, this is number 2 and number 3, the knockout rounds. Starting on Halloween and then going into November 1st, it's winner take all. Either you win or you go home. And if you win, you are going on to a home-and-home series, the conference semifinals to the conference finals, broken up by the international break. And then it's 2 teams. Winner lifts the cup. Philip F. Fan shoots. That's what you're going for. Toronto FC did it last year. Look what this means to Michael Bradley. Hoist that thing, baby. Somebody's going to do it this year, and it's not going to be Michael Bradley in Toronto FC. So it is open for everybody, including NYCFC.
December 8th on Fox, MLS Cup Final. We will have full coverage for you right here on MLSsoccer.com. But right now, let's take inventory of where things stand with NYCFC with 2 weeks to go left in the season. Currently sitting in third place in the East. They have clinched a playoff spot. They have 2 games remaining against some Eastern Conference foes in DC United and Philadelphia, who, gentlemen, have been playing pretty darn well as of late.
Yeah, this is a playoff rehearsal basically for them through the end, because they've got that X next to the name, doing NYCFC. They're going to the playoffs. They know it. They're not going to get a bye this time around, and that's a disappointment, but it looks like they will get a home game in that 3 or 4 seed, and that is great news for Dome Torrent. Their form right now, not what you'd want, but they've lost just once all year at Yankee Stadium. If you look at the history of this knockout round game, all the way back to 2011, only 5 road teams have moved on in advance, and that's what NYCFC fans want to hear. They want to make a long run in the playoffs. Now they've got the opportunity to do it. Got to go get it done, though. You know that, Calen.
Well, let's take a quick look back at how they got here. Calen, the offseason saw the departure of some pretty big names for NYCFC and Andrea Pirlo and Jack Harrison, but also an influx of talent, albeit without the same name recognition, but some really good signings here.
Well, that's actually been the story of MLS lately, as a lot of the bigger names sometimes are leaving, and in comes this new influx of young talent. And the one that stand out to me for this team has been Tajuri Shadi. I think he's been so excellent, being able to come in and combine off his left foot. He's contributed with goals and assists, and has made an instant impact, which isn't easy to do as a new player in a new league.
Well, that hot start wasn't limited to just a few players, was it, Andrew?
No, it wasn't. We saw Anton Tinnerholm get on the action. Here's Joe Brigette. He stepped up in that center forward position. Jesus Medina is a guy who made 22 under 22 for a reason. They went out and paid about $4 million for this guy, and he's been absolutely incredible. And what that did at the beginning of the season was create one of, if not the best teams in Major League Soccer. They started this thing out extremely quickly. 5-0-2. They were top in the East. After 9 weeks, everybody was contributing, and that's important because this year hasn't been one of those vintage years from David Vieira. He's missed 11 games, and it's affected them, but it hasn't tanked their season. Still third in the Eastern Conference, still pushing, still believe they'll get into the playoffs and have a chance to win the MLS Cup. And oh, by the way, this man, he's back. He is back, he's healthy, and that is going to be all the difference for this team going forward.
Well, another difference for NYCFC. They also had a nice little hot streak in July as they rattled off 4 straight wins to start July. That began with a big 1-0 win over the Red Bulls, Calen.
4 straight wins and 4 straight shutouts. That's the big difference. Now, you can talk about the star-studded attack, Morales, David Villa, all the names, but it was the back line that was getting it done, anchored by Sean Johnson in July.
Well, that 4-game streak marked a pretty key point in the season for NYCFC, but it also marked the end of Patrick Vieira's reign as head coach of NYCFC. He left the Big Apple to take a job in his home country of Nice. Here he is.
It was, of course, really difficult. It was a tough decision because I spent 2.5 wonderful years here, not just professional, I'm talking about personal as well. My family enjoyed living in New York. They enjoyed being part of what New York City tried to build, and it is a difficult decision. But I have to say that since I've been in this football club, it's been a real pleasure to work with those players that I had. The atmosphere in a training ground, in a dressing room, always been fantastic. I can turn my back and say to players, you have to do this, and I had 100% belief and confidence that they were going to do it. And they make my job easy, I will say it in one side, because they are hard worker. They buy into that project, into that philosophy, and you know, I believe that in every kind of success happen some things like that today, because the success that we had and I had here because of the players, of the people who surround me, opened some different doors for myself. So. You know, the players, they've been fantastic to me. I will be a #1 fan, and I will be following them and following the result. just wish them all the very best.
We'll have more on the midseason coaching change and Dome Torrent's start as NYCFC head coach when we're joined by NYCFC's Sean Johnson and Alexander Ring right after this quick break.
And now Mosquera, the goal scorer for Dallas. Opportunity here for a second, right into Johnson, and Dallas will have to settle for a corner. Defenders around him now. Alex Ring will tee it up and off the bar. First goal for New York City, and how about that? It's 2-2.
Welcome back to NYCFC Push to the Playoffs on Yes Network. I'm Susannah Collins, joined by Andrew Wiebe and Calen Carr, and so pleased to be joined by two of NYCFC's finest starting goalkeepers, Sean Johnson and 2018 MLS All-Star Alexander Ring. Thank you guys so much for being here. Great to have you in the studio.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Some congratulations are in order. You both recently signed contract extensions with NYCFC, so I want to ask both of you why this was the right decision for you to stay with your club. Sean, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think for me it was an easy one. Just going back to last year when I first joined the club, you know, everybody welcomed me with open arms, and coming to the club, the organization, to see how things were run, and obviously the product on the field. You know, I came at the same time as Ringy, and we were able to kind of start something special. And for me, it was basically setting out to finish that out and achieve something special.
Great, Alex. How about you?
Yeah, the same like Sean said. I think it was a no-brainer. The way the club and the fans have embraced me and my family, taken care of us, the New York, the city. I mean, you can't complain right here. So
it's not terrible.
Easy
you guys
decision.
put your long-term future with this club, but we've seen a huge kind of fundamental changes here. Patrick Vieira leaving in the middle of the season, you can't blame him. He goes to a great job at Nice. Dome Torrent comes in, but I always think about how individuals kind of shape careers, and of course Patrick had a huge influence on the both of you. When you think back on your time with him, what will you take away? What are the things that will kind of be with you as you continue your own careers?
Yeah, I'd say for me, with Patrick, obviously a lot of credit to him for, you know, first off, you know, bringing me into the club and kind of instilling the principles that you see with, you know, us and, you know, City Football Group, the teams that are, you know, within that organization. So for me, tactically, just giving me a few things that I hadn't had before in my career, changing up a playing style, kind of taking me out of my comfort zone and putting me into a situation and helping me, you know, basically have success on the field as a player within the system. It's been tremendous since he's been here, and obviously Dome coming in and just kind of taking the reins. A
dream though, man. A central midfielder playing under Patrick Vieira?
Yeah, I mean, it was the reason I came here. You know, I don't know if it would have been someone else, maybe I wouldn't be here now. For me, it was a chance, you know, to learn from one of the best in my position. He played it, the stuff, the things he gave me on my way, the way he interacted with other people, the aura that he has. You know, it's something that only players who've played at his level have. It's this indistinct thing, you know, and yeah, I mean, it was the biggest reason why I joined the club, of course.
Alex, we've seen some players come across, and it takes a little while to adjust to a new league, big city, big club, a lot of expectations. How have you been able to find so much success personally on the field in your transition?
Yeah, I think, like I said, the club, my teammates, they make it easy. You know, when I came, I think we came a week before the season started last year, at least I did, so I didn't have a lot of time. But I always felt at home immediately when I came, you know. It's, I think it's very important how the club takes care of you, of your family, that you feel comfortable outside off the pitch, because then you'll be playing well on the pitch, you know.
I always wonder what it's like for you guys to have that coaching change mid-season. Calen probably knows from his professional days, but for those of us that were never in a professional locker room, when that switch is made, when Dome Torrent comes in, how do your jobs, how do your goals, how do the way you approach your job day-to-day change?
Yeah, I think you know, we're fortunate enough to have somebody within City Football Group come in, you know, with similar principles and how we want to play. So basically picking up where, you know, Patrick left off. I think you know, the transition could have been a lot tougher, and Dome's been fantastic with us. He's given us the ability to go out and kind of you know, be quote unquote, you know, the boss around the field, to make decisions and you know, make changes as we see fit, you know, as players on the field accordingly. But he gives us everything we need throughout the week, and then once it's match day, kind of releases us to do what we need to do.
I get a sense that it's a tight-knit locker room. You can tell that there's really good camaraderie. But when a coaching change like that happens, how important is that camaraderie, especially when there's a new presence in the locker room, new leadership? How has that made you guys closer as a team?
Yeah, I think so. I think in any transition period, I think there's going to be a ton of questions that come up outside of the locker room. But the important thing is within, having a clear direction of where things are headed, where things have been, and you can't allow things to get off track no matter what the situation. And I think making Dome's transition into the club as easy as possible was our goal, and obviously the easiest way to do that is to continue with results and make it easier for him to kind of institute the changes he wants to or wanted to.
Yeah, Alex, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think especially when you have a new coach who comes in, it's important for the players to step in, take responsibility, try to make it as easy as you can for him, because it's not easy mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
Every coach has their own ideas. I mean, it's exciting. He was working with Pep for 15 years, It's not like he knows he's worked with special players and he's won everything you can win. So I think he has the blueprint, and it's just about us, getting to know the blueprint better and doing it on the field.
Is that the last 2 months for you guys, is trying to figure that blueprint out? Because the result at the beginning of the season, we talked about them. You guys were flying. It's one of kind of the big three in the East. There's been a little bit of a drop-off here. 2 wins in 11. What do you attribute that to? Is there any concern at all about that run of form right now?
For me, I don't think there's really any concern. Obviously, you want to continue a string of good results, but in any season, there's ups and downs. Specifically in the moment before the last break that we had, coming off a couple bye weeks now, I think it was good for us to kind of have a break to kind of clear things up. But there's going to be ups and downs, but I think just staying level and realizing that we're still in a good spot. We still have the ability to go forward and win something this year, and that's what we wanted to do, is put ourselves in that position and give ourselves a chance at the end of the year. So we have a couple more games to get things right before going to playoffs, and I think we'll do just that. I mean, it's up to us and everybody involved to kind of figure that out, and we're up for the challenge.
You guys could play the Red Bulls in the playoffs. Have you thought about that, Alex? Have you thought about New York Derby?
No.
Not at all, not one bit.
No, not yet. I mean, it's too early to think about that, right? So the difference to Europe is the format you play here in MLS with the playoffs. So maybe we haven't been at our sharpest because of various reasons, injuries, and maybe not been playing that well. Been unlucky, there's a lot of factors, but at the end of the day, when you make the playoff, that's when it counts. And now, like Sean said, we've had a couple of bye weeks, maybe reflect on ourselves a little bit, work on some stuff, and I think we'll be ready when the playoffs start. That's what's important.
A lot of people were saying, wait and give this some time, don't try and force this rivalry down people's throats, but it feels like every time I watch you guys play, there's actually some bad blood between the two of you. It's been back and forth both directions this year. What has this been like for you, Sean, being in the net in Red Bull Arena and then also on the other side at your home pitch?
Yeah, it's been great. I think the rivalry is healthy for both teams. As you can see, we've both pushed, I think, to push ourselves to a really high standard, and that kind of reflects in the standings in the Eastern Conference in the past 2 years. I think we've been two strong teams. For us, I think, specifically looking back at the last Red Bull game, there was a challenge for us to have a bit more bite about us, and that was a big question mark going into the game, and I think we answered all those questions from that match we played. So looking forward to any time we really step on the field against them, and it's definitely it's built up to be a battle, and that's what it is.
It's always fun.
Yeah, it is.
Those games are always a blast. Yeah. Well, you guys have punched your ticket to the playoffs. Past couple of seasons, kind of earlier exits than I know you would have liked, but what's different this year? Why is this team poised to go on a run in the postseason? Alex, start with you.
I think we've gotten better in depth than last year. We had a good team last year already, but I think we saw if we were missing 3-4 players that it affected us a little bit too much, and this year we really have a good depth in the squad when everyone's healthy. So yeah, I'm hoping that's gonna take us far in the playoffs, because the fact is, when everyone's healthy, it's a battle for the starting positions. It's not like the team writes itself, so no one can like relax, and that's always good trade. I think that's what's really normal in Europe. It's always every week is a competition for your place, and that's what we need in the club.
Johan Herrera, he's been injured. Jesus Medina, he's been injured. I want to start with you on Herrera. This guy is just a force of nature. We saw it in the 22 rankings. What it's like to play next to him? What have you been missing without him?
Yeah, he's a box-to-box, you know. He has everything. He brings everything with offensively, defensively, just the physical presence that he has. I mean, if he goes into a 50-50 ball, you know, the other guy's not gonna come out normal. So he's we call him La Bestia, the beast. Yeah, we've been missing him, of course. You know, I think last season he had a really good season now before he got injured. But he's still a young kid and he's gonna come back stronger. You know?
A lot of things have changed. You mentioned the depth, but it still comes down to David Vieira, right? Well, he's been so incredible, probably one of the best designated players in MLS history. Sean, what's his presence been like in the locker room? We see what he does on the field, but what does he bring to the team in the dressing room?
Yeah, I think the biggest word to describe David is a competitor, and you want to have competitors around you, and obviously talented competitors at that. He's been obviously tremendous for us over the past couple of seasons that we've been here. Someone that you can look to, that's no moment's ever too big for him, and he always wants to win no matter what. You know, if it's a shooting drill, you know, small-sided game, whatever it is, he wants to be a winner, and I think that's a mentality we have to have. Everybody has to go in with that mentality, so it rubs off. And I think once everybody has that mentality going into, especially what is, you know, the most crucial part of the season, which is the postseason. Now I think that's what it's going to take to achieve something.
Patrick Vieira, David Villa, Andrea Pirlo, the maestro. I was checking out your Instagram, man. I was doing a little stroll, and you had the farewell. What was it like to play next to him for a season? I mean, just class personified.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to talk about him as a player, but just I think as a guy, he was fantastic. You know, I don't know anyone who would say anything bad about him. The way he, you know, talks to the younger players, I think him, David, you just tell them, look what they're doing and try to emulate, try to do the same things, and you'll go far. You know, there's not much you can say. I mean, it's a blessing to play with these players.
Have you ever looked at Pirlo's Instagram and just been like, how do I get this guy's life? Right?
How do I just have a glass of red?
Right, exactly,
exactly. Like, how do I go
He's always like drinking wine in some beautiful, beautiful location. It was just, I'm always like just so jealous. If I could pick like one player's life, I'd be like, yep.
Yeah.
Andrea Pirlo.
No, your life's not bad too. I've seen your Instagram as well.
I try.
Looking ahead towards the playoffs, you know, you're likely going to be in that opening round game, and it can come and go before you know it, but can also spur you on if you get that momentum from the first match. How would you look ahead towards that match approach, understanding it's also likely going to be at your home field?
Yeah, I think like Rini said earlier, it's tough to really look forward to that game, not knowing, you know, where that game's going to be played, who our opponent's going to be. I think the most important thing is just knowing that, you know, whatever moment that is, when it arrives, we have to be up for it. Whether it's home, whether it's away, no matter what team we're playing against, I think you have to beat, you know, every team to hoist a cup, or at least, you know, be the best of all the teams that are competing for the cup. So, you know, they say you have to beat the best to be the best, but you know, for us, I think it starts with mentality, and no matter who we play against, it's going to be a battle, and we have to go in with the right mindset.
We are going to take a quick break, but we will have more with Sean and Alex in just a bit. Stay with us. Welcome back to NYCFC Push to the Playoffs. I'm Susannah Collins alongside Andrew Wiebe and Calen Carr. And of course, you know these two guys, NYCFC's Sean Johnson and Alex Ring. And of course, we are all here because of NYCFC's Day of Soccer. Some cool stuff going around the city. We've got pitches being dedicated. How cool would it have been for you guys as a kid to have these initiatives in place where you're growing up, Sean?
Yeah, I think it'd been awesome. You know, to have the ability to just get out and play the game you love. You know, really for me it was playing in my backyard and, you know, kicking around with my dad. But there are plenty of kids in the neighborhood that, you know, wanted to get out and play, but really no place to just go grab a ball and do it. So to be a part of something special, opening up many pitches in and around the city, I think is tremendous, just to give kids an opportunity to play the game. You know.
And Alex, what was it like for you growing up in Europe? Where were you playing?
We had those kind of pitches, some made out of concrete, like here on the video. Backyards, if someone had a big backyard, we would play there. But yeah, I think it was pretty standard that all the boys would play soccer, you know, any free time you had. So I think it's nice for the kids here to have the opportunity to do that too.
No coaches, right? No coaches, just pick-up soccer?
Yeah, just pick-up soccer. I mean, you would go play with your friends, you'd play in school, play with the guys who lived close by. Yeah, it was pretty
How important is that for kids to be able to play without saying, hey, you did that wrong, or you need to follow this instruction, but just to kind of learn as you try things yourself?
I mean, I think it's a big part of like these street soccer players that you see people like in England, Germany that go one-on-one. This is where they learn it, you know. You don't learn it by someone shouting you, hey, dribble with your right and left. No, you have to figure it out yourself. You learn new tricks, you take them to the soccer field, you show them, you try them out against your friends. You learn a bit toughness. You know, it gets competitive sometimes in these games. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the fundamentals. And then after, at a certain age, you go into a club and get like a guidance to channel your technical abilities or whatever it is that makes you good, you know.
You got next, Sean? You're not going to play in goal when you're playing pickup, right? You get on the field.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, you got to, you know, you got to like prove yourself, right? No one's really taking gloves out there and like, you know, I mean, you said play on concrete, so everybody's got to be able to play with their feet, you know. Which is
the worst one usually go in goal.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying you're the worst one.
Right.
I just said that was the rule.
It's a dig. All right, fair. You know. But yeah, you gotta, you know, like you gotta prove yourself. You gotta go out there and you know, play against older kids who are, you know, bigger, faster, stronger, and you gotta, you know, develop your technique and you know, show them that you're capable of holding your own.
Forget the kids. If they built this in my neighborhood and I'm looking for it, I would be there every single day. Maybe get my 11-month-old out there. You guys both live either in the city or right outside in Hoboken, Sean. What's it been like to experience New York City as an individual? I mean, you've been here, but I want to go to you. Alex, I want to know what it's like for you because you're Upper West Side. You're right in the thick.
Yeah, I mean, me and my family, we love it here. Always something to do if you want to. Very hectic compared to back home, especially Finland. But yeah, I can't complain. I mean, I have more guests here than I used to have when I played back in Germany, which is crazy because it was only 2 hours flight back there. So yeah, I mean, can't complain. Always something to do. Summer is amazing here.
Constant guests is basically like, that's part of living in New York City. People on your couch all the time. Are you guys New Yorkers? Do you feel like New Yorkers? Yeah. Are you like fighting for position on the PATH train, Sean? How do you do this?
Yeah, you know, I've had a couple experiences. You know, I had to basically figure it out. I think the very first time I tried to take the PATH and then the subway, things got a little confusing. You know, I had to come up for some fresh air and then have somebody help me out. But no, it's cool. That's a part of it, figuring it all out and making your way around the city. It's very different, but it's also very cool. And definitely consider myself a New Yorker. Not gonna say I'm perfect with the transportation yet. Probably need a little bit of help still, but we got some time.
Sean, I saw you were ranked 9th all-time now on the MLS all-time appearances for goalkeepers. First of all, congratulations. I remember when you were just a rookie coming in Chicago. But I remember we've gone out to lunch a couple times, and usually I feel bad about myself because you're always eating so healthy. What do you have in New York on a cheat day for Sean Johnson?
Ooh. Cheat day. That's a tough one. Honestly, I have a really bad sweet tooth, so whenever I get a chance to go enjoy something sweet, there's a place called Milk. You know, that's
I'm familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knows all about that.
Yeah. There's a few places around the city, but honestly, there's all sorts, man. There's anything you think of food-wise, you can get it here. You know, everybody talks about pizza. I love pizza.
You spent some significant time in Chicago. I'm a Chicago gal. Can we settle the great pizza debate? Yeah.
We can settle the great pizza debate.
Let's do it.
For me, it doesn't compare. Like, for me, deep dish doesn't do it. And
oh, heartbreak over here.
This is like a direct shot right into my heart.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm Team New York when it comes to pizza.
I got to change it before she gets too bitter here about this one. Alex, we'll end with you. Dome gives you an off day. You can do whatever you want. What are you doing? What are you and your family up to?
Usually my wife makes me take them somewhere, probably Central Park. It's close by. We explore the city. I mean, there's so much to do. It depends really what you want to do. We like to go and eat in the restaurants, especially downtown is nice. Some good restaurants there. Yeah, but I think more it's all about the kids, you know, whatever they want to do. Daddy does it on his day off.
The kids dominate. Well, Alex and Sean, thank you so much for being with us today. Best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
We shall be watching. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to take a look at the biggest stories of MLS this season, from Alfonso to Zlatan. You don't want to miss it. Stick around. Welcome back to NYCFC Push to the Playoffs. It's time for Calen and I to take you through the biggest stories and some of the best moments from the 2018 MLS season. David Beckham himself, no one has made a bigger splash upon arrival in MLS than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. His debut was an instant classic, an epic comeback for the LA Galaxy as they christened the brand new derby against LAFC, aptly named El Tráfico.
Here's Marco Arena, able to keep it on Cole. Rossi had to wait for it. Into the middle, Carlos Vela! It's in, it's over the bar, it's 2-0. Shelvik, Arena using his body to get there. He's got Vela open in the middle. If he's, it's going to be an own goal instead. It's been that kind of a day for the Galaxy. Orozco had enough. Now can he feed an opportunity from Sebastian Lletget? Can he do it again in Los Angeles? Welcome to Zlatan. Boateng weaving his way through. Now his cross. Pontius is there! And the Galaxy are a goal away! Kamara throwing his body in. It's going to fall for Ibrahimovic! Oh, come on! Come on!
LAFC have just been Zlatan. Take the bow! Sensational!
Cole picks it up. Cole's cross, Ibrahimovic! Oh, are you serious? This is as good a story as you could have possibly written for this first ever game between the Galaxy and LAFC.
And while Zlatan has continued adding to his legacy to the tune of an impressive 20 goals, and yes, 500 for his career, it was a former teammate of his at Manchester United that may have just outdone him for moment of the year. The start of 2018 was a rough one for Ben Olsen's squad, with 12 of their first 14 games played on the road. Results were hard to come by. 2 wins in those 14 games meant DC was desperate for points once their prize summer signing, Wayne Rooney, showed up.
A 500 record in DC United's first 5 games with Wayne Rooney was not nearly enough to spark a run at the playoffs, and head coach Ben Olsen knew it. So, late in a tied game when DC earned a corner, he took a big risk, sending his goalkeeper into the attacking end.
See him in the box. DC United going all out after it. It's Osted. Cleared. A foot race the other way. Look who's running hard after defensively. Wayne Rooney, the net is empty. Big collision by the captain. That is unbelievable effort. Rooney putting one up. Acosta.
Rooney and Zlatan certainly had big debuts in MLS this season, but so did LAFC. The expansion club is following in the successful footsteps of Atlanta United, with a first season that started with a bang and appears to have them headed to the playoffs.
Making a run. If he plays in, this could be it. Carlos Vela!
And the new kids in LA have not been resting on their early success, adding big pieces throughout the season including goal scorers Adama Diamande and Christian Ramirez.
There it is! Well, you always remember your first.
The Black and Gold have been battling atop the West this season with FC Dallas and Sporting KC, two teams who have only 3 combined losses in 30 home matches. But home records aside, all 3 of these teams will be wary of running into the Seattle Sounders in the playoffs.
That's right, Susannah. For the 3rd straight season, the Sounders have caught fire in the second half of the year, including an MLS record streak of 9 straight wins. And we'd be remiss to not mention beloved Sounder and U.S. men's national teamer Clint Dempsey's retirement earlier this year. Congrats to Clint on one heck of a career for both club and country.
And while we're talking records, we should mention your old teammate, Calen. Wando Watch is on as San Jose's Chris Wondolowski goes into the final 2 weeks of the season, needing only 1 goal to tie and 2 goals to break the all-time goal-scoring record held by Landon Donovan.
Wando, go get that new record because, Susannah, he did see one of his smash this season. More on that next.
Now there is Joseph Martinez. Martinez cuts. Martinez! There it is. All hail the new MLS scoring king. Joseph Martinez, 28 and counting.
Atlanta United's Joseph Martinez obliterated the single-season goal-scoring record previously shared by Wando, Roy Lassiter, and Bradley Wright Phillips. Martinez has been on fire this season, becoming the first MLS player to break the 30-goal mark, and his goal-scoring exploits have led Tata Martino's team to the top of the East and front-runners for the Supporters' Shield.
The ball in behind the header, flies off his line.
Last year's Shield winners are another big story as they've struggled in MLS play after a fabulous run in the CONCACAF Champions League that ended in heartbreaking fashion. Toronto FC, surprisingly, out of the running for the playoffs, only a year removed from winning a domestic treble.
It's Christian Pania with his 11th of the season.
Along with Atlanta, battling for the Shield are 2-time winners, the New York Red Bulls. And despite a coaching change of their own midseason, they have relied on the league's stingiest defense, along with perennial 20-goal scorer Bradley Wright Phillips, who has been buoyed by the addition of Argentine playmaker Kaku.
A surprise team making noise in the East has been my old teammate Jim Curtin's Philadelphia Union, who have relied on a youthful defense. The homegrown movement is strong. Andre Blake behind them in the back. And Blake's teammate on the Jamaican national team, Corey Burke, he's emerged as their top striker for the Union, scoring timely goals and helping them lead all the way to the US Open Cup final.
Unfortunately for the Union, the Open Cup final did not go to plan. The Houston Dynamo, led by their young attacker Mauro Manotas, cruised to a 3-0 victory at home. The 23-year-old Colombian scored 2 of the 3 goals to deliver Houston's first ever U.S. Open Cup trophy. All right, guys, so Manotas is a guy who seems to have really broken out this season for the Dynamo, but who are some of the other young players that you're excited about?
I mean, this one's obvious to me. It's a no-brainer. It's number 1 in 22 under 22. He's 17-year-old. He's Alphonso Davies. He's going to Bayern Munich, and he's taken the league by storm this year. It's incredible to think about. 2017 for him was 1 assist in Major League Soccer. Just 1. Yeah, he led the Gold Cup in scoring, but he hadn't done it in the league. It's 6 goals, 11 assists this time around. I was in D.C. for this goal. It was a jaw-dropper. And oh, by the way, Bayern Munich took notice. They paid up to $22 million for the Canada star. He is the next big thing in CONCACAF. He is the next big star in this region. I cannot wait to see how his career progresses.
Wiebe, when you look at the region, 2026, the U.S., Canada, and Mexico will all share the World Cup.
Yes, they will.
Well, at the top of 22 under 22, U.S. and Canada are also sharing a little bit too, because number 2 was Tyler Adams, the American international. I talked to Dennis Hamlet, the Red Bull sporting director, about him when he was playing in the USL team. Young kid from the Hudson Valley, then steps up into the first team. They got rid of their 2 top center midfielders, Sasha and Dax, both gone. And this kid took over not just on the field, but in his leadership, and is now taking a big step forward with the U.S. men's national team, scoring the game winner against Mexico recently.
Oh, by the way, these two might face off in Germany, because rumors are Tyler Adams could be headed to RB Leipzig here, that sister club of the New York Red Bulls. Such an exciting time in MLS, man.
Well, guys, I just want to add that there are 2 NYCFC players on that 22, under 22. We have Yangel Herrera at number 4 and 21-year-old attacker Jesus Medina coming in at number 8. So got to show them some love as well. You guys, you can catch the entire list on MLSsoccer.com. We're going to take one more quick break, but when we return, we are going to dive into the final 2 matchups of the season for NYCFC against Eastern Conference foes, and we're going to look ahead to see what it will take to make a run in the Audi MLS Cup playoffs. Stay tuned.
This copyrighted telecast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to NYCFC Push to the Playoffs. Susannah Collins alongside Andrew Wiebe and Calen Carr. And gentlemen, with just 2 games left in the regular season for NYCFC, what needs to happen to set them up to make a push in the playoffs?
You got to stay healthy this time of year. That's the most important thing, is to be in good health. And you heard Alex say a specific name, Yangel Herrera.
Yes.
That's the biggest name for them. When they have him healthy, they are a completely different team. If you look at the reimagining of this team from Pirlo and Lampard, well, they've got a younger duo there with Ring, Herrera, and Morales. When those 3 are playing together, that forms one of the best center midfielder tandems in the league.
Honestly, it's shocking he's even ready to be back at this point. That he's back in training, trying to play this year, that wasn't in the cards. NYCFC said he was going to be out. The other guy, Jesus Medina. He went out late summer, and that changed the way this team played. For them to make a run in the playoffs, it comes down to one thing for me, and that's Torrent figuring out his 11 and sticking with it. Give them that tactical approach they can build around, they can become familiar with. Maybe he's trying to find different clubs in the bag. I don't know. It hasn't worked over the last month and a half, 2 months. Find something, stick with it like Patrick Vieira did, and you're going to have success.
Yeah, I agree with that. And look, a new coach, you're going to make changes, you're going to experiment. And he's been playing with one of the best coaches in the world, you know, coaching with Pep Guardiola, who's used to making these small, subtle changes. But now's the time to figure out the best lineup going, because, yes, you do need to create that type of relationship, especially in that center of midfield.
All right, well, Andrew, earlier you spoke about the importance of playoff seeding for NYCFC. What is the best case scenario for them as they look ahead to the playoffs? I mean, Montreal, DC, what would you say?
I think a lot of people would say that Montreal are the better matchup, and I would completely disagree with them. I know that DC are hot. I know they're rolling. They've got Lucho Acosta, and Wayne Rooney absolutely killing it right now. But they've got one win all year on the road, and they haven't really played on the road at all the second half of this summer. I would rather have DC because I think they will be more conducive at Yankee Stadium, because remember, this will be a home game for NYCFC, to opening the game up a little more. There'll be more space for the blue side of New York to work with. On the other side, Nacho Piatti, that deep block from Montreal, a field that rewards random moments at New York. I don't think you want to see the impact. I think they want DC. I know that's counter to most logic, but that's where I'm going with it.
Have you been watching DC lately?
I have been, and I love it. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. But I've been watching them at Audi Field, not away from home.
Well, guess who they're bringing with them? Wayne Rooney and Lucho Acosta. Man. Those two have formed one of the best tandems in Major League Soccer since Wayne Rooney's come into the team. You know, it's been an incredible impact. Having these home games at Audi Field has allowed them to be able to create some momentum. But it might come to an end against this NYCFC team because they've been so good at home. The issue is form, and DC has the better form right now, so that's why I'd be more worried about playing them versus Montreal.
Yeah, I think it's down to special players now for NYCFC, and that's the playoffs in general. If you go back and look at their appearances, that's what it's all about. The Jovinkos of the world, the Josie Altidores who come in and have punished NYCFC in the past. Well, that needs to be David Villa. His legacy with New York City is incredible. MVP, one of the best players in the league, one of the best DPs, as you said, in league history. But at some point, you need a trophy as a club, as a player, as an icon in New York City. And if they could get it before the Red Bulls, oh my God, that would change everything for this club. It would change everything in the rivalry. It would vault them to new heights.
But that's what I want to see, actually, is to see this actually come to life in the playoffs. That would take this to the next level.
One last question, and to make it quick for me, guys. I want you to tell me how far you think NYCFC can go.
I think it's conference semifinals, and from there, I just don't think they get through. I just think that they've kind of been thrown off their rhythm, their form. It's not been the same with Torrent. I think it's conference semis and out.
Well, we forgot about their quality. I wouldn't lose sight of that. If they get going, especially playing in that knockout round, can sometimes kick you on and give you some momentum. I think conference championship is the ceiling for this team, and once you get there, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. All right, thank you so much to everybody who watched. Thank you to NYCFC and the Yes Network for working with us to put together this great show in honor of NYCFC's Day of Soccer. Go to nycfc.com for more information. A huge thank you to Sean Johnson and Alexander Reed for stopping by. And don't forget to keep up to date with all your MLS news and info at mlssoccer.com. For Andrew, Calen, I'm Susannah. Good night, everybody.